Hello everybody, good day to you all. I'll be running through a short video of about 15 minutes of a review and unboxing, not actually unboxing, then a benchmark analysis and a performance analysis of this motherboard MSI Z170A, which is a gaming motherboard. M5 is the model. This is the box, and actually I have got my processor is Core i5 6th generation, 6666, and this is a killer RAM, DDR4 RAM, 8 GB, Z170, which is compatible with this motherboard. This is the motherboard's box, and we see here, and I have encased it in a cabinet which is a Spec 3 carbide of Corsair, which is a gaming cabinet and much suited for this motherboard. This is the user's manual of the motherboard. The motherboard is, as I said, Z170A MSI. It's a gaming one, and I have actually installed it in without a video card. Actually, there's no video card. I have not added an extra video card. Here are the cables and other accessories of the motherboard. The board supports 6th generation Intel Core, Pentium, Celeron, and it supports DDR4 RAM 3600. That is the CD, that is the driver and other software CDs along with the motherboard. And it has got USB 3.1 generation 2, which is 2x faster, and this offers performance twice as fast as the regular USB 3 connection. It has got a turbo M3.2 gigahertz per second speed, and it has got a turbo U2 ready USB 3.1 and a SATA Express 10 gigahertz per second. It has got a Mystic Light. We can customize the PC to suit our needs, to look at colorful, and it has got a gaming LAN powered by Intel, an audio boost, which is real good audio. Like it's good stereo. I don't have an external card, and it's a good stereo. Here is the motherboard installed in the Corsair cabinet. You can see that there. I have set it up with a 2 TB Western Digital, and this cabinet has got LED fans looking good, and it has got two USB 3 and outside on the front, and the board has got a familiar red and black color scheme on which almost all games are focused, hardware and standardized. It's a full-sized ATX board, has mostly blacked out look, and the gaming board is not very pricey. Actually, it's about 14,000 rupees in Indian rupees, and it is okay. It's a sort of entry level gaming board. The back panel has a PS2, one USB 2, a DVI input, and as well as a HDMI input. I mean HDMI out and a DVI out, and 3.1 generation 2 USBs, 3.1, then there's a killer LAN, and the audio port has center subwoofer out, rear speaker out, line in, and side speaker out, line out, front speaker out, and a microphone in. On the audio outside, it has got a digital Sony Philips digital interface format, SPDIF out, which is actually good because we can get some digital output here if you have digital speakers. Now coming to the motherboard itself, we can see that it has a digital display of temperature there, 36 here, and this is the motherboard installed. You can see the motherboard there. It has heat sinks are concealed here. The gaming M5 digitally controlled power faces, 10 of which regulate the power for the CPU, 2 more power of the processors integrated into the GPU, and the heatsink is a little low profile affair, only 23 tall. All heatsinks on the motherboard are held firmly in place with screws rather than push pins. That is one thing you have to note. There are no screws for messing around, and the Z170A M5 MSI motherboard serves up to 3 PCIe into 16 slots, and one graphic card is installed, all 16 of the Skylake's Generation 3 PCIe are routed into the leftmost silver slot, and there are about 3 into 16 PCIe slots. Uh, Slots are of 4 into 1x slots, and the leftmost of which is enabled and always fed with a single generation 3 lane from the chipset. This is the specialty of this. It has this next generation storage, um, and it is built on the Z170 Intel chipset. For storage, it has got dual M2 slots with 4 lanes of PCIe Generation 3 each and 2 SATA expresses. Now coming to the stunning and the awesomest part of this motherboard is the BIOS. It's a click BIOS and high resolution BIOS, and it has got a lot of features which I still haven't yet explored, and it has got an easy setup mode, and it has got a settings mode where we can see fan control, M-flash, information display, boot device priority bar, language screenshot, setup mode switch. The advanced mode has game boost toggle. There is a game boost actually which I have put it off here. I have put off the game boost, and it's got a BIOS menu selection with settings, OC, M-flash, OC profile, hardware monitor which I have not seen in. This hardware monitor actually allows you to set the speeds of the fans and monitor voltage of the system. The OC mode is actually awesome here. It gives us overclocking abilities, and the overclock mode has a CPU ratio apply mode by which we can activate the CPU ratio field. And actually I have not done any experimentation on overclocking here because I am not actually pushing the motherboard to its limit. I'm just using it normally, and M-flash provides a way to update the BIOS with a USB flash drive. This is a very useful thing here in the motherboard because we can easily update it with a USB flash, and setting it to boot with the USB. When we flash it with the M flash mode, it boots, and it automatically. Now here is the motherboard explorer. This is a very good part, and this is really good. Actually, it shows what is on the motherboard. You can see one RAM there, and it also has got this back panel display. It's really good. When mouse over, it shows actually what is there in the particular input and output. This part of the motherboard I really liked. This is the OC overclocking profile, like I told you before. Uh, the overclock here, actually we can set CPU core ratio separately for each core, and it also allows CPU ratios for different number of active cores here. And that is the gaming on off button, which I have turned it off as I'm not actually playing games here now in this. Now I'll actually boot the PC, and I'll show you the specs. These are the specs, a screenshot of the specs of the motherboard. You can see the detailed specs of the motherboard. BIOS. PCI slots. The CPU is Intel Core i5 6th generation with 4 cores. The temperature of the cores are seen here. Graphics, the motherboard graphics is really awesome. It's very good. It's as good as any NVIDIA entry-level graphics card. And the RAM is, like I said, it's a killer RAM, 8 GB DDR4. I have not, although it can hold up to 64 GB DDR4. Now I'll be running the benchmark tests. Now here I've started to run the benchmark tests, and we'll see the benchmark results. It's running extended instructions, CPU. Now compression. The green bars, green horizontal bars we see are the benchmark of this computer as compared with some really good ones. Um, we can see that it is standing out well. CPU single threaded. These are vector graphics, 2D. Fonts and text. Windows interface. As we will be running Windows, I have got Windows 10 installed in the system here. .2D image rendering, direct 2D. This is 3D. Intel HD graphics. DirectX 10. That looks like surface of Mars. Oh, that's Earth, I guess. Memory database, memory read. Memory read is real fast in this motherboard. I mean, things work pretty fast here. Memory write, RAM, latency, sequential disk read, sequential write, random seek. This is one of the important parts in read and write. And the motherboard does support good speed of write and read here. This is the benchmark marks. That is the standing of the benchmark. That is 2027.6. Now, if we look at it, we see that these are the specs of the motherboard. We see the motherboard stands at a very good place. Like it is beginning and gaming motherboard, and it is awesome. Its speed is very good. My personal experience, having used it for gaming a few times, but I have used it for modeling and 3D graphics. I see that the board is very good, awesome. It's worth the money we spend for it, and it is actually future ready. So we can actually go in for this, and since it has got 4 slots which can take up to 16 GB RAM. So I think it's a good investment. 16 GB of DDR4, and which can be real good. And here we can see the benchmark analysis. Um, this is the summary of the benchmark analysis, and the green bars, like I told you, horizontal green bars are the um, benchmark of this particular computer, this motherboard, MSI's 170 Z170A motherboard, and it's just especially if you have a look at the write and read speed, compression, encryption, physics, it stands at a good place. Um, These are the graphic benchmarks. Graphic benchmarks, you can see that it is almost on par with NVIDIA GeForce GT630. It's actually sometimes better than that in certain, for example, in complex vectors, and of course Windows interface. It is very good, mm, and image rendering, image filters, direct 2D. These are the memory tests, and this is the disk mark, read, sequential write speeds, which also it stands at a good position. Here's my final analysis of the board based on benchmark tests, and also my usage. I see that the board is quite good, and I've been using it for various purposes like multitasking and computational biology, gaming, and many other things. I see that the board is quite good, and it's when we have an additional 8 GB, say a 16 GB of DDR4, the and the board is going to be very good. And if we have another graphics card, say NVIDIA of about 2 GB added on to it, and even a sound card maybe like Asus Zonar 1, then the board is going to be really good, and it's really worth the money we spend for. It's a good gaming rig. We could put it on with a nice gaming tower, and the board is really worth the money we pay for. The special thing about the board I liked is the BIOS interface. It's very nice and very cool, and it's really user friendly, unlike many other BIOSes we have. And the color and the looks are really awesome. The board is a very good board, and I would not hesitate to recommend this board to anyone who's into entry level gaming.